Whether a hitter is likely to crank one out of the park or whiff on a fastball is valuable information for major league teams. And these days, some of them are getting it from an unlikely place: science. A small number of pro teams are using neuroscience to evaluate how well hitters' brains respond to different pitches. Neuroscout, a New York-based startup, is hoping to use this technology to attract the small but growing number of pro teams.
And so for each trial, you see a countdown bar, and that countdown bar will disappear slowly.
So I decided to visit the Neuroscout founders and try their prototype at their Columbia University lab, where they came up with the technology. Using a crude computer program and a cap with electrodes, Neuroscout is able to monitor what happens in a hitter's brain in the small amount of time it takes them to decide whether or not to swing.
A major league pitcher throws around in mid-90s, mid-90s, right? And that takes around 400 to 450 milliseconds for that pitch to get from the release of the pitcher to the plate.
Through their analysis, Neuroscout says it can give teams a scientific explanation of what constitutes a good eye.
So for instance, they can tell by looking at some of the results that we can produce where in the trajectory of a pitch that player is deciding to swing, where they're deciding not to swing. And from that kind of information, you can gauge which player is better at picking out pitches. In other words, who's got a good eye and who doesn't have such a good eye.
But the company says evaluating a hitter is not just about their ability to identify a pitch. It's also about how quickly they act on that information.
It's not so much whether you have a good eye. Sure, you can maybe be able to tell balls and strikes. But the question is whether you connect that visual processing on the neural side with the motor commands. So that's executing a swing or not executing a swing. And that's something that in elite players has developed very strong.
What we learned is you have a very fast response time.
As for me,
So you were a little over-eager to respond to every pitch, so you swung at a lot of balls, let's say.